With a lot of my procedures and stuff, reallocating, the fat cells, expanding my chest, my arms.
Right.
I mean, you already know at the end of next quarter I have planned the trip to Tijuana to widen my neck.
Do you need me to send you a check for that? Do you need help?
We'll worry about that down the line. We'll have Chives look into the books. But like I said, they were supposed to remove my kneecap to get the fat cells from behind it and put it back, but instead they removed about 3/4 centimeter of my shin, which I don't know how you. Hey, I'm not a doctor. Yeah, so I've had to go around town. I've gone to Shopko, I've gone to Penny's to get. I have to get all different types and sizes of shoes. I have to wear one with a lift on my right. All I've been able to find are those foam kind of women's high heel shoes.
Yeah.
On this side to take care of the limp. And then I get whatever sort of stylish loafer I want on the other one. So my shoes, essentially, I have to buy twice the amount because come to find out, which was news to me, they won't sell you an individual shoe.
Right.
They said, sir, what the hell are you doing? You need to buy the whole pair.
Well, try ZCMI because ZCMI has a very wide selection. I only shop ZCMI. They have Skechers, CrossFit shoes, small shoes, big shoes. So they might be exactly what you're looking for.
Will they let you order a la carte style? I guess that's what I'm looking at more than anything. Like I can deal with the price. I can reallocate funds.
Yeah. Call Jerry down at ZCMI. Tell him I sent you, and he'll help you figure it out.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this difficult for you to look more like Shrek.
Yeah. I've been trying to be more budget friendly at first. Because, the Chodbergs that live at the end of my street own the Payless shoes, and even they weren't willing to work with me. So that's a little bit of neighborhood beef that I'm dealing with. But now I've come to realize, it costs what it costs.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Chode, if you're watching this, please be patient with him. He's dealing with a disability, a self-inflicted disability from his surgeries. So, Mr. Chode, Mrs. Chode, please... be patient with him and do him good, do him right.
Yeah,
they're probably watching.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Schoenberg, if you're watching, and we know you are, let's get this taken care of.
Yeah,
that's a real pain in my rump.
Oh, come in. Who is it?
Oh, hey, sweetie.
Oh,
hey,
Fiona.
Hey, I brought you guys some lunch.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Your wife is so
That's
sweet.
so nice of you,
Julian, this
sweetie.
one's for you.
Oh,
How you doing, babe?
I'm good. How are you, honey? How's the episode? Sorry, am I interrupting?
We were just getting warmed up.
Okay.
Wow. Turkey sub. Ooh, you got me all the condiments.
Oh, and I got you something to wash it down.
Oh, nice.
Your favorite?
Wow.
Thank you, Fiona.
Yeah.
Am I the same?
Dude, your wife is the best. What'd you get?
I thought you loved that.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm really thirsty. Really thirsty.
Yeah. Well,
That should do ya.
Yeah, that should do you.
Oh.
How's Laura?
How's Laura? How is Laura?
She's doing good.
Good.
She's good.
Great.
I haven't seen her or talked to her in a couple days, so.
I mean, yeah, she's doing good. We had our morning walk today, and she wanted to give you a very formal salutations. That was about it.
Oh, cool.
But I can vouch she is doing well.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, well, Gordo and FJ are in the car. I got to take Gordo to the ophthalmologist, so.
Thank you, sweet Fiona.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're so
Okay.
nice.
Wow.
He's got to get more drops for his eyes.
Yeah.
You know how they get dry and
Well, he
They
doesn't
kind of
know when
blinking
he's staring
again.
at the sun.
yeah. So, okay, love you guys.
Bye.
Enjoy
Love you,
your
sweetie.
lunch.
Love you.
Love you. Love you.
Love you.
Fruit snacks.
All your
We
favorites.
got real mayonnaise, yellow mustard. She got all the fixins.
And I wish I had a
is such
turkey
sweetheart.
sandwich. I'm pretty hungry.
What'd you get? Oh, a cucumber?
Yeah. Some Rim Bim cereal.
Oh, nice.
That's about it.
Well,
Yeah.
should we have a little bite before we get started
Sure,
here?
dude. But yeah, man, I'm sorry you had to find out how Laura's doing right now. I know that's got to be hard. You being out of the house and all.
Yeah, we're the type of couple that when we're fighting, we just push everything down. We just stop talking. We just go our separate ways. I kind of do mine thing. I like to go down to the Sizzler and do bingo night. you know, and she likes to do her thing. She likes to go on walks with you. And
Oh, that reminds me. She wanted you to wear this for the time being. I think you know why.
Oh, okay. So I was kicked out of the home again because I was lying to sweet Laura about being an alpha. Because
She didn't like that one beat.
She didn't like that, so as soon as the last episode was over, my stuff was on the front lawn. I left, spent a few nights in Jake's shack in the backyard, and now I'm back in the studio hanging out with Mitch. So
I'm going to need you to go ahead and put that on, though. She wanted me to text her as soon as I gave it to you.
yeah, we can just.
No,
Well, you don't have to tell her.
I can call her right now.
All right.
I'm doing this because I care
Fine.
about you. Just to remind you for the next little bit.
Well,
that,
I like
you know,
Pinocchio anyway from the movies, so he's actually one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I'm starving, dude. Should we take a little lunch break
Yeah.
before we hop on in?
Ew.
Yeah, man, I feel my body strengthened and nourished. That was really nice of her to bring that in.
Your wife is the sweetest lady. You have to tell her I said thanks. I told her thanks. I'll call her. I'll tell her thanks. I'll text her. I'll tell her thanks. I'll page her. I'll send her a page right now. Send her a fax. But I want you to tell her as well.
Oh, I feel like I think she was kind of peeving me.
What do you mean?
Just you saw how she stomped in here like she owned the place. I told her you don't come into my place of work.
She knocked politely and brought me a delicious meal.
No, she stomped in here like a raging bitch.
Are you saying she's stomping the swamp?
Not in a good way.
Yeah, that usually is a good way.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there, man.
What's been going on? What happened this weekend? Something with her?
No, a little bit of good and bad. I mean, freak, we had another DCFS visit again.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah,
Gordo?
well,
Probably Gordo. Huh?
yeah, it's always Gordo. Dude, I swear. Like, you know, I've been kind of on a quest to have him be more adaptive and evolve and not be his handicap that was imposed by me. And
Yeah, you're putting him through Richard's test. Richard put us through this test. He's going to put you through this test. Although Richard used to blindfold us. In Gordo's case, we don't need to blindfold him because he's already, his vision is already gone.
And if you didn't see before, Richard's Community College
Richard's Community
in Beaver,
College.
Utah. If you use the code Shrek's baby, you get 10% off of your first semester at Richard's College. Anyway, but I mean, like, so we've been having him walk to school alone.
Yeah.
I guess the courts called it disgusting neglect. I call it adaptation.
Adaptation.
Again, I don't want him to be his handicap. Sure, he's blind. Sure, he can't see where he's going. Sure, he can't see where he's walking. We can't afford to get him a cane.
Right.
That's fine.
And it's like these people with disabilities, they don't want you to coddle them, but then when you treat them just like every other human being, you take them into the woods, you drop them off and say, find your way back.
Yeah.
They want special treatment all of a sudden.
They're like, I'm no different than you. And it's like, you are. What's on the wall right now? I can't tell.
Right.
We're not the same. But I want his other senses to be heightened. And you actually gave me this idea. We drop him off at a different area of the neighborhood every day before school. And it's not all bad. We give him ample amount of time to get there. I think yesterday we dropped him off behind the community pool down the lane. And we dropped him off behind the Sizzler, over by the Red Lobster, which is a little bit hard for him. There were so many cars that he bumped into because it was, in fact, during Lobster Fest.
Right.
So,
one time we took him to Chuck E. Cheese. We said, hey, Gordo, happy birthday. Go ahead, here's some tokens. Why don't you go into the ball pit? As soon as he was in the ball pit, we all dipped. A couple hours later, we got Chucky calling us, hey, your son's looking for you. He's crying. And it was just like, well, you know, he knows how it goes. Find your way home.
Yeah. He said he's crying. You know, he doesn't seem well. And I go, and?
Right. You got to, tough love is the best way to raise a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I fully believe that. In fact, David, a.k.a. Rumpelstiltskin, my son.
Oh, this is a first.
Right, I haven't talked about him a lot on the show because, much like Rumpelstiltskin, whenever you talk about him, something bad seems to happen.
Right.
Right? And I tried to bond with him, and it just wasn't working. In fact, the last time I tried to bond with David, a.k.a. Rumpelstiltskin, my son, I developed the first case of male postpartum with my son. And I just can't stand being around him. I get these thoughts and these emotions. I want to choke him to death. So I try to avoid him. I try to stay out of his way. He stays out of my way. And that's why I haven't talked about him.
Do you even have a picture of the boy?
I do. Here's a picture of us. We do have one photo. It was taken a couple of years ago, I think. Yeah. He's a beautiful child. Physically, he's very beautiful. Mentally, though, I just don't get along. He's a good-looking boy. Don't get along with him. You've spent some time.
I have, man, because I know you can't stand the sight of him. I know you don't like being around him. So, obviously, me and Sweet Laura have been bringing him on our Wednesday night Wendy's runs, and obviously we don't let him order anything, but he's along for the ride and he's agreeable enough. And you know, even for me, I can only take him in small chunks. I'll give you that. I guess maybe it's because he reminds me a little too much of myself, and I don't want to vie with another person just like me. So
he is a lot like you.
Yeah, we put him in the back. We turn up the music super loud, so even if he was talking, we couldn't hear it.
He is like you, but in the worst ways. See, like if let's say you were his father.
Yeah.
Which obviously you're not. He took all of the bad qualities of you and stuffed them into one translucent skinned being that I call my son.
Yeah.
So.
And that's really brave of you to bring it up, man. Because I know when we got into this several years ago, building this media empire, that you said my one caveat is I will never talk about that little sack of flesh. Right. Is how you referred to him, not me. Right. Your words.
Right. So we just call him Rump for short. Anyway, to tie that back in, we've dealt with the same situation. He's been taken from neglect. He's back.
Yeah.
Just kind of a back and forth with those guys. So I do tinfoil all the windows of the home so that CVS cannot look inside the windows and try to frame us for neglecting our son Rumpelstiltskin, a.k.a. David.
Well, I think even if they did take it to court, they talk with that kid for 5 minutes, they'd get it.
Right.
Right. Anyway, it wasn't all bad this weekend. Like I know I've told you, me and my Fiona, we have a really good love life. I don't talk about it here much, but we were getting, we were getting the hanky panky more than probably anyone on the block, and at any given moment, exactly. I know. I would check in with you after, and you would write down the tally marks.
Sometimes she'd put me on speaker phone so I could, encourage you guys.
Give us some pointers, walk us through the more technical positions. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm taking a very high level on this. I used to be able to make her honk like a flock of geese.
Like a flock of geese, yeah.
On command.
Oi, 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 oi.
No, it's more about honk, 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 honk. The last couple months, that well has been tapped dry. I couldn't get so much of a peep out of her. I got a few little encouraging honks over the weekend, albeit faked and forced. She knows that gets me going.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you flip her around, give her the stinky stump like I was talking to you about?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't want to break the inertia of what was happening, so we just did the old classic hanky panky and the danky stanky.
Nice. Cool, man. Well, I'm glad you guys are improving your...
I just need more honks in my life, Jules, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You know how much I love it.
I know what you mean. In fact, they're about equal. 50-50 green lipstick. You love that. Sephora brand green lipstick. And you love the sound of geese. In fact, we were at the golf course a couple days ago.
Yep.
And we were doing a round of golf, around 18 holes. And we were just shooting shit, and a flock of geese flew right on overhead. Started honking and honking. Before I knew it, I looked over, and Jake had run behind a bushel of trees.
Yeah, I had to dismiss myself. I had to take care of this here and now because I will not let it get in the way of the game.
Right. So 15 minutes later, he comes back out. We got to run back to the car, switch pants, and then we finished our round of golf.
Yeah.
So the geese, beware. If there's geese around, you're going to have a really, 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 really fun time.
Yeah. Big mess.
Yeah.
What about you, man? Any other updates you got for me, dude? I feel like we've just been stuck on me.
Just out of the house, just been hanging out with Mitch. Last night we popped in a couple lean cuisines, cracked open a few ice cold old duels, and we watched Shrek 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So I'm freshly ready for today's episode. But other than that, I think we have a couple more things to cover because we do have a very, 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 very fun guest today.
Which we'll introduce here in a minute.
That we're going to introduce here.
We do have some breaking news, some crucial updates. Breaking news.
Right.
You want to start us off?
Yeah, so Shrek 4D. A lot of you, we've gotten hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of emails from you. How was Shrek 4D? Did the protest work? Did they end up kicking you out? Because as we discussed, we brought an entire suitcase of chains. We were going to chain ourselves to Shrek 4D to stop it from being closed down. As you know, Gordo was born there. They renew their wedding vows there. We go there at least bi-monthly, or we did. So this time, we got the news. We got to the airport. We were ready to go, ready to rumble. We had the full garb, Donkey, Shrek. We were ready to go with chives, and our flight got delayed. We realized that we were not going to make the last showing of Shrek 4D. So we put together a plan. We distracted some of the guards at the airport, and we snuck onto another flight that was going to make it. We did find out halfway through the flight as we landed in an intersecting landing zone between your next flight and your next one that we were actually headed for Jamaica. We got on the wrong flight. We were not headed for California. So we told the hostess, hey,
can we reroute this plane?
It's an emergency. And she said, sir, I don't know who you are. Please don't come up to the front where the pilot is flying the plane.
She even had the gall to say you're scaring the guests with the enormous stilts that you're walking on, the big costume that you have. And not only am I going to ask you to go sit down, but I am not requesting, I'm demanding that you take off whatever you're wearing. It is alarming the passengers. We have several screaming, crying children.
Right.
I don't know how those 6-inch stilts got through security. However, we will be confiscating those. I'm going to need you to take off your large bulbous costume that is making you appear large.
You were
taking up 2 seats, distracting the pilot. The weight of the airplane was actually off because of the full garb we had on.
They were tilted to the right about 1 degree, and as you know, if you fly 1 degree off misdirection, 100 million miles, you're going to end up in a totally different new area than you were trying to get to.
And you remember what I said?
I do.
I said, listen here, you son of a bitch. You know how much this means to me. I will not deal with this any longer. And you better not get in the way of me getting to Shrek 4D.
And then he started running into the front of the plane, pushed past the small little hostesses, and tried to grab a hold of the plane steering. And the pilot said, Mayday, Mayday, you are going to kill everyone on the plane. And you said, you son of a bitch, you know how much this means to me. I will not be delayed any longer. I need to see Shrek 4D. Then one of the big male guards on the plane, undercover guards, tased him on the jugular and knocked him clean out. Next thing we know, I'm watching Shrek on the little TV. He's being dragged to the back.
They duct taped me to the chair.
Duct taped him to the chair. It landed, and we got kicked off the flight. So
mid-tarmac, we had to walk ourselves back.
Right. So we didn't make it to Shrek 4D, although Chives did.
Chives did make it.
He was able to sneak onto the right flight, and he did see Shrek 4D. Here's a picture of him at Shrek 4D.
Kind of a little disrespectful. He still hasn't come back yet either.
Chives, please come home. We need you. Our homes have not been clean. You are our butler for life. Once you enter into an agreement to become someone's butler, it is for life.
Yeah.
So please come home.
We even offered him if he returned sweat equity in our media empire. In exchange, he actually did have to give back and dissolve the 2% we initially gave him in agreement to pay him below minimum wage.
Okay.
So for every 2 years you put in, you get a 2% adder of your sweat equity. Once you get to 100%, that's an actual 1% of real world equity.
Right.
So it'll be a while, but there's definitely some scratch in it for him.
And I got a shiny golden doubloon for you if you come home. All right. So I think the last thing here we need to cover on
last order of business, housekeeping
item is Julian Myers. A lot of you have been asking, hey, did you guys get your investment money back? What did he use those gift cards for? That sort of thing. And I can tell you, so we sent him $3,000, I think $4,000 between the both of us to invest in crypto. And he said, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be able to flip this. I'll give you $20,000. Now, it has been 2 weeks. He does have our money that he flipped. But he needs a little more money as a transfer fee. He's transferring us that cash, liquid, and he called us and said, hey guys, it's $400 to transfer the fees. So we did have to send him $400 more.
So I'm not a banking expert by any means, but every transaction that I do to a different account and transfers costs me a bit of a fee. That's just how Wells Fargo does it. So he actually came up with the genius idea of, instead of consistently transferring and reallocating funds, instead put him and his name on our account.
Right.
So he can give liberally our funds to where they're needed.
And then next time there's an investment, some investments, it's like, hey, this stock is going to go up right now. He doesn't have time to call us.
No questions
get
asked.
The funds. He can just go directly into our account and do as he pleases. He's our financial coach, as he has labeled himself. So we gave him our bank account. I made him primary owner of all my accounts and savings accounts, so he can willy-nilly go in and make those trades for us as a professional investor. So we've given him full financial control of everything.
And I know what you're wondering, how do we know if this is too good to be true? It's simple. We had a gentleman's agreement over the phone.
Right. And Uganda law states that one must not lie. So if in order for him to lie and steal this money from us, he would have to be breaking the laws of his land. Yeah. Which would just go against everything he believes in.
Plus,
because
if we know anything about his parents, obviously, if you're just tuning in, Julian Myers is the illegitimate love child of Mike Myers
and Julia
Roberts. And eventually, we're going to have him on the show. But until then, he is taking care of our assets,
making us lots of money. So we'll keep you updated on that. As soon as we get the funds, I think we're going to put on another performance for you, and we'll stay tuned. We'll keep that on hold for now. So
without further ado, let's jump in.
Without further ado, our special guest, she's a doctor. She is a licensed doctor who deals with people's minds, Brains.
Yeah.
She's a brain doctor. And we'd love to have her on. We're going to talk a little bit about the psychology of Shrek. We have a lot of questions that we are curious about Shrek and his friends in this realm. So come on in.
We have Dr. Andrea Cook.
Dr. Andrea
Hop on into the swamp. You can sit right here, sweetie.
Hi. But I'm not a doctor, so...
Did we get the wrong person? You're a mind doctor, right? Brain doctor?
Well, I'm a therapist. I have a master's degree, so...
Oh, we call you Master.
Okay. Master... Like Master Windu.
Okay, Master, go ahead and have a seat.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Okay. And again, you can find her on insicknessandinhealth.org.
Sicknessandinhealth.org.
Yeah.
Tell her if you want to visit, tell her we sent you.
Tell her we sent you, although we will not be using her in our personal lives because we are perfectly mentally healthy. As you know, we do tidy time, we do our nightly journaling, we do our nightly calls, so we do not need any therapy.
I take spiritual and sexual inventory every morning in my journal. Excuse me. One time I actually saw a therapist, and this is the first time they've said this. They said, I am so mentally fit that they actually wanted to pay me for the visit because they learned so much. Right. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Doc, why don't you go ahead and give us...
So, again, I'm not Doc, really. I'm...
Andrea, could you just give us a really high level of what is it like doing your job day to day? What does that entail? How exactly are you helping these folks? Because a lot of people will say this sounds like a whole bunch of f***ing baloney.
Right.
Oh, okay. I usually work 12-hour shifts. I have many clients who advocate for their own mental health, and they just kind of want to be guided in their journey.
So do you physically like open up their skull and kind of poke around, electroshock therapy type deal, or is it more of like the thing that no one really believes in, like word healing is what I like to call it?
Well, I guess if you put it that way, it would be the latter, that you think nobody believes in it.
Oh, word healing, right.
Well, not really word healing, but I guess that's how you view it. But I don't open their skulls. I'm not a doctor.
All right, okay, so you don't physically go in, it's more like, how are you doing? What can I help you with?
Do you ever touch the outside of their head, their brain?
Right.
I do sometimes touch their knees. It's a form of stimulation to the brain.
Now we're talking.
Oh, now we're talking. Knee touch.
It just at the end of the knee. It's called bilateral stimulation to the brain.
So that is exclusively for bisexuals.
Bilateral bisexuals. Bipolar?
Well, I treat all of those, although there's no exclusivity for any particular client. They're all just as important as the others.
So it's for
as
bilinguals.
you would be if you feel you would want to come to me. I think I could probably help both of you.
Well, the thing,
I don't know.
We get our guidance from. Let me rewind. Let me rewind it back real quick. So, our hero and our longtime friend and
our idol, our father figure,
our grandfather,
our muse,
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Not
all encompassing.
All.
Right. Does not see a therapist. In fact, some would argue that he doesn't believe in therapy. So, that being Shrek. So we don't see Shrek visit a therapist. We don't see him speak really about his own problems, and so we try to live that ourselves.
Well, let me just encourage both of you men that therapy is confidential, and many people talk about very deep things that you know they kind of try to hide and
I have nothing to hide.
Protect themselves a little bit. So for example, like if I have someone come into the office that we'll say maybe has a mask, although that hasn't happened, or maybe
Like a physical mask?
well, yeah, or they're putting on a different persona on their face, or they might look away or have their hair kind of.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, it says on your website that your parents divorced when you were 5. Was that your fault?
Was it? Why would you do that?
well, first, I don't think that's on
What
my
did you do
webs-
wrong?
Well, a child never does anything wrong when their parents divorce.
My kids do stuff wrong every day.
Yeah. Me and Laura's relationship is in the shitter because of our son, David. Our son, a.k.a. Rumpelstiltskin.
And would you divorce because your children are having
my
normal
child.
child behaviors?
Yeah, so when I go out to the Sizzler and to Applebee's bi-weekly, I am cheating on Laura because of David, because of my son David. I just can't stand to be around him. I need a release. So I go out and I cheat.
It's your little boy's fault that you bring out your instruments to be with other women.
Right, because when I'm in the shower, he comes in and he points and he goes, "You have a small weenie." And that makes me feel very insecure. So I take my little hot dog and I go put it in a bun. And where are the buns at? They're at the Sizzler.
Okay, why don't we talk, if we could, just a little bit about how you feel when you're at the Sizzler?
Probably hungry.
Hungry, like everyone feels when they're at the Sizzler. They feel like they're home, they feel welcomed, they feel loved, they feel like everything's going to be okay. When I grab a couple of those wingy dings and those macaroni fingers and I put them on a plate, I feel like I'm really living the good life.
So you tend to indulge.
Oh yeah, it's all you can eat.
And you take that to the nth degree, the indulging?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he has dessert sometimes too.
Yeah, I have dessert. They have the soft serve ice cream, so sometimes I'll do half vanilla and half chocolate.
Oh, he gets nuts with it.
And then I'll do some of the M&Ms on them, and then the Oreo. I'll do.
How long generally does your indulgence go on for, Mr. Juju?
Like when I'm at the Sizzler?
Yes.
How long do we spend?
I mean,
there?
you stay there till they close.
I'm just.
Till they close?
Yeah.
And how long does your indulgence last with your little tiny cucumber that you were discussing earlier?
Oh, my ween wand.
Ween.
Well, when you dip it in that sweet and sour sauce.
So, Mr. Julie.
Julian?
Julian.
Yeah.
Julia?
Julian.
Julian.
Yeah.
So, when we overindulge, sometimes that is a kind of a Freudian way to kind of compensate for our inability to maybe last so that length there of the drinking
What?
Yeah, so I would be happy to do pro bono for you fellas.
I don't like you two.
You don't like what?
You two. Bono, he's a kind of a dick.
Yeah.
We
are anti-bono.
We had prepared some questions
Let's go with
relating
that.
to the
Let's
content.
just-
Let's dive.
okay.
Let's dive straight in.
Let's keep the focus. Let's not focus on us. Let's focus on Shrek.
This is all about Shrek.
Agreed.
Everything here,
Okay.
this house we built, this kingdom, this media
dynasty.
empire is all Shrek. This is not about us.
Okay.
So you watched the first, second, and third movies, right? As we requested.
Well, sure. Yes, sure.
Let's just load up the clip. Let's
load up-
watch this is including Lord Farquaad.
Okay.
Let's do the clip, and then we'll get to the question.
All right.
Well, that's it right there. That's July. I told you I'd find it.
So, that must be Lord Farquaad's castle.
Very big.
So
Very big.
that's a phallic
Do you
symbol
think
there.
maybe he's compensating for something?
We'll stop right there.
Yes.
What could he be compensating for?
Well, let's ask you there, Julia. What do you feel he could have been compensating
Can I pump the brakes right there? This is directly about Shrek. We're not doing this.
Yeah, I'm just asking Julia's opinion.
I can speak for him. We're keeping it here.
Do you often speak for people?
For this little
Whoa, dude.
I'm sorry, this little bud of mine. Look, hey,
He's joking.
I'm joking.
Oh.
But yeah, just let's keep it here, please.
Okay, well, why don't you ask me your question? We can we can try that.
So
Jake,
what is he compensating for?
Well, it's a phallic symbol, kind of a Freudian view. He's there.
And this is a two-part question. Can you, you seen with your patients, can you lead a normal life with a micropenis? I'm talking a little baby acorn.
So we can assume that he has a micropenis, right?
Okay,
it isn't
yes.
said. It isn't
Yes.
said in the show, but he's got the big castle. He's got the big ego. He's got the larger than life.
He's
broads all around him.
overcompensating.
Because I'm sure there are some viewers.
Yes.
Some of them have asked. Even a friend of mine, my friend, said, "Can you ask? I have a tiny little orange baby carrot. Will it ever be enough? Will I ever be enough? Can I live a normal life, or am I doomed to live this life of shame
Right.
for the rest of my life?"
And this is the thing too is Lord Farquaad, I would assume, wasn't born with a micropenis. Because of things that happen in his life, maybe wars, tribulations, trials, curses, or plastic surgery. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a rich guy. He might have had a lot of plastic surgery.
So he would want his
I'm
penis
thinking.
small?
I'm just thinking
He
in
would
the
have a
analytics of it.
reduction?
If you're moving masses of your body to other areas to compensate, I'm thinking maybe that has a direct effect on the size of these. I don't know of Lord Farquaad's
speculation.
winky, or maybe it's shrinking between that and the steroids that I'm assuming he's taking.
Right, because he's ripped.
Well, we know steroids can cause things to kind of shrink a little bit. So, you know, we may be looking
a
at
lot.
that. However, though, in regard to your question, there are many men and lovely couples that I see that their genitals aren't maybe quite what they'd like, but they go on and have very fulfilling marriages and sex lives. And
So-
there's much more to marriage and love than just the size of the genitalia or the
Bingo.
breasts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's say Lord Farquaad, he wins over Fiona. He takes her back. He's obviously a billionaire. He's got lots of doubloons. He takes her into the castle. They're getting ready to do the tippy taps. They're getting ready to do the hokey pokey. They're getting ready to bing bong bang. And he whips out his tiny chocolate chip. What do you think would be the first thoughts of Fiona in this situation when she sees his micro
Keep in mind, they've already tied the knot. They saved themselves. There was no way to know.
Right, and they're married at this point. Is it easier to get divorced, or is it easier to deal with a tiny acorn in between your thighs?
In my experience, I have found that the tiny acorn between the thighs can be difficult for some women. For others, though, depending on how they're built, they prefer a tinier acorn, if you will.
Did you hear that, Jake?
One for the boys.
One for Lord Farquaad.
So, Lord Farquaad, though, you know, as we look at him and analyze him through psychoanalysis, what we see is there's a tendency for what appears to be narcissism.
Yes, we
so-
agree.
So oftentimes narcissism isn't necessarily a compensation for an acorn that's the size of, you know, an acorn, although that can be a part, but we find that narcissism also generally it will develop in a breeding ground in childhood where the child isn't emotionally nurtured, and so they kind of shut down emotionally and develop overinflated ego.
So do you think Lord
although the
Farquaad,
acorn may not match up with the overinflated?
I respect your opinion.
so what you're saying is
Yes.
because of the way Lord Farquaad might have been raised, he became a narcissist. And that narcissism led to him maybe getting plastic surgery, trying to change his body, and that led to a micropenis. So everything's kind of interconnected. So it's his parents' fault that he has a micropenis.
Yeah, in
Is that what
turn.
you're saying?
Well, there are many clients who will blame parents in the way they were raised. In fact, most people blame their parents at some point in their life. I teach parents that every one of your children, if they go through finding themselves, are going to come to you at some point and tell you that they wrecked your life, their life. And then as they get help, they grow up and say, wow, if I could be a parent as good as you. So it's really kind of part of the dynamics of finding ourselves that we tend to want to blame before we're able to really kind of, you know, really take a look at ourselves and maybe some of our quirks, such as Farquaad, Farky,
All right.
What do you have,
the
man?
Lord. Not
So-
the Lord, but
So take
Sorry.
that, sink that in, Jake. I'll sink it in too. We'll do our nightly call tonight. We'll journal and we'll talk a little bit more about Lord Farquaad, buddy. Okay, everything's
Farquaad.
going to be okay.
are you feeling?
I'm good. You had a question. We have another clip.
All right, so let's go to this next question here. This one is mine. So let's watch a little bit of this. This is from Shrek 2.
Hey, what about my Miranda rights? You're supposed to say I have the right to remain silent. Nobody said I have the right to remain silent.
Donkey, you have the right to remain silent. What you lack is the capacity.
Boom.
I must
Boom.
hold on before I...
Let's pause it right there. So as we can see, Shrek is imprisoned. This is Shrek 2. He's imprisoned with Puss in Boots. He's imprisoned with Donkey. And that's the only thing that really applies to my question in this clip. So my question, what types of mental health issues does someone go through who's been imprisoned? Let's say for going against Lord Farquaad's will.
It could be anything. Stealing from the drugstore, blinding your own child, and anything
Right, and
that can land you in the
just
slammer.
tossing things out here, neglecting your kids, stealing candy bars, sucking your kids' toes at the park, being friends with your son to the point that it looks like you are a predator. What type of implications could that have being in prison for something like that?
Okay, so we often find that those who are in prison can have what we call oppositional defiant disorder as children, where they're very defiant. This
ODD.
Yes, ODD. This can be hereditary. We do find that some of these behaviors again can develop in that breeding ground where there's a lack of nurturance, or there's overindulging. But generally, we find that that they have often inherited kind of a low-level defiance, and if they aren't nurtured and taught correctly, or get the help that they need, it can develop into things later on like antisocial personality disorder, which and those things entail stealing and hitting and hurting others. It can entail fire setting. It can entail having really not a sense of guilt.
So you're saying
So-
Shrek could end up with these problems from being in prison?
Well, not from being in prison, but if he's in there for doing some of these antisocial behaviors and he's not treated, his disorder can get much worse. Now, if we go to prison for something stupid we've done as a teen, you kind of risk taking on some of the personality traits of the people there in the prison with you, usually for self-protection, but generally when they leave, if they're not there that long, those kind of personality thorns that they've put out there to protect themselves, those tend to drop away. Although I often do therapy with those that have been in prison or
So I'm speaking from real world experience. I know exactly where you're coming from there, babe. Let me ask you this. Are people better off? Can they better themselves in prison?
Absolutely.
Because I say that because the years I spent were some of the happiest years of my life. I like to protect myself. I build up walls. I push people away. It's something I enjoy doing. And the most freedom I've ever felt, ironically, was within a cell, within 4 physical walls that I literally could not move. I couldn't get out of. I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed living in solitary confinement with me and just my bunkmate. We would do everything together. We'd laugh, we'd cry, we'd make love, we'd pray. And I often yearn for those bars. I actually hired a contractor to add on a realistic prison cell onto the back wing of our house. Anyway, not to derail it too much, but it is you subscribe to the idea that some people can be better off after prison.
So what you're saying is you thrived, you grew, you had great joy as you were imprisoned with a cellmate who you made love to and prayed with, and you were confined.
Yes.
So what that would say to me is not so much that the prison and the act of being in prison brought you joy, but what it would say to me is that you have issues with rejection. And so if you are in a place and the person you love is in a place where they can't get away, it would likely create within you a sense of security, not only within yourself, because you probably haven't maybe trusted yourself in your own behaviors, maybe with, I don't know, your maid or your children, I'm guessing.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Does that make
because
sense to you,
oftentimes
Julia?
I will go to Jake's home for our weekly barbecues, Shrek rewatches, Lean Cuisine Green Night, where we take food coloring, we turn all the Lean Cuisines green, and we have a party. And he'll oftentimes tie me down to the couch. I'm saying, hey, I got to go home soon. He'll physically tie me down and keep me there for longer than I'm, hey, I need to get home. Sweet Laura's calling me, and he'll say, no, you have to stay. I can't deal with you leaving right now. I need you. You're a bad friend if you don't stay. You don't love me unless you listen to me. So I'll stay, and because I'm forced.
Does it often feel like it's never enough? He always needs more reassurance. Does it feel like that to you at times?
Absolutely not.
No. Does it feel to you like he can fill your need there, Jim?
Yeah. Yes.
Then is there a reason why you don't want to let him go when he's filled your need of feeling safe and secure? Is there anything that...
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so, but you haven't really answered the question, Jay. Is there a reason why you won't let him go if he's filled your need of feeling secure?
Where else does he need to be?
Right.
If Sweet Laura needs something, I can just as easily go help her while he's tied to the couch, and I oftentimes do. I see it more of me helping him. It's more respite from his everyday worries.
He's helping me. I'm helping him. It's
I'm
kind
helping
of
Laura.
He's helping Laura.
He's giving me a hand. I'm giving her a hand.
I'm giving Fiona a back rub. I'm giving him a back rub. I'm giving
Fiona's his wife?
Oh yeah, we all give each other back rubs.
You give Fiona back rubs?
Yeah, I'm the back rub king. You want one?
I think I'm okay, thanks.
Okay.
Do you give back rubs to his wife?
I give liberally,
He'll
and I abradeth not when it comes to back
He scratches
rubs.
my back all the time.
Sometimes too hard.
Sometimes too hard. Sometimes he takes up a little skin.
Well, how about your wives? Do they come together in a close way?
We're best friends.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. So
So what's one tip if Jake ever goes back to prison? Because Gordo has been gaining a little bit of his sight back, and we don't want that to happen. So let's say if things go well for Gordo and Jake ends up back in prison, what's one tip you could give Jake that he can take into prison
In my
to help
second
better
go-around.
himself?
well, I think Jake, the thing that you could take into prison is that
A cell phone?
well, that might help him to feel that he could reach out to people, although I don't think they allow those in
A
prison.
knife.
I think that, or a knife. I don't know that would behoove you.
No, I don't put it in my hoof. Just like any other good prison mate, I open up my brown eye, the old third eye. It's called God's glove compartment.
Yeah, we'll do Vinkanasa, we'll do some yoga, we'll do Shamakanasa, we'll do donkey pose, cat pose, and I'll open up his third eye for him. I'll bend him down, I'll spread his butt cheeks, I'll get that third eye nice and primed, and I'll put stuff in there for him. And that really relieves a lot of stress for him. So, back to the prison thing, if we need to open up your third eye tonight, we can.
Yeah,
Well,
I got time.
I would suggest you had asked me a question, kind of my thoughts as to what would be best for you, Jake, if you have to go back to prison. I would say take pictures of your loved ones with you, pictures of those that you care for. And I would write letters, I would continue to journal, and I would suggest maybe solitary confinement.
Okay. I mean, I guess the pictures is a sweet idea in like in its most basic form, but I don't want to have to deal with the paper cuts of putting it in and out of the leather donut. You know,
Right.
that could be really painful.
Then I would suggest that maybe you visit with the psychiatrist or the therapist on a regular basis while you're there. And if he wants to do work with you as far as journal writing, you can do it with him, and he can help protect you
So
from
what we'll do
anything that might harm you.
is we'll write the therapist's number down on a hot dog. I'll freeze it. I'll bend you down. We'll do Vadakanasa. I'll open up your brown boy, open up the brown Super Bowl, and we'll throw it in like a hot dog in a cave, and you'll have the number anytime you need to call him.
This sounds like the plan for me.
All right.
Hey Swampies, it's Jacob from the Talking Shrek podcast. Thanks for joining us again this week for a very exciting episode. Hopefully we shared some laughs, cried, and just had a great time in general. Unfortunately, YouTube only allows so much Shrek related content per episode, so this one will have to be split into two. Don't fret, we'll be back next week with the exciting conclusion to this episode. And as always, keep stomping the swamp, ogre and out.